So over the past couple years, I've reviewed a ton of streaming devices, which means that my review table is full with devices, remotes, batteries, and every time I want to test another streaming box or switch from an Apple TV over to the NVIDIA Shield or to watch something on Plex, I have to hunt down a completely different remote. And for me, this does get kind of ridiculous. So today I'm asking one simple question. Can one single remote completely replace this entire mess? And most importantly, is this finally the true Logitech Harmony replacement we've been waiting for? So today we're going to unbox and test the SofaBaton X2, which should solve my problem. So we're going to jump right into it. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, smash the notification bell. Let's go. So before we jump into it, big shout out to SofaBaton for sending the X2 as well as the R1 signal extender for me to review. Of course, all the opinions are going to be of my own. However, I will leave a link in the description where you're going to check it out along with a 15% discount code. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get it out of the box. So first, we are going to have a quick start guide. It's going to tell you everything you need to know about the device. We also have a regular instructional manual. Of course, this is going to get more in depth. Definitely worth checking both of these out. And here's the device itself. Looks amazing, but let's go ahead and get it out. All right, I'm gonna set it to the side for now, but let's see what else we have in the box. It's a really good presentation. All right, so we do have some IR blasters right here. We'll get into that here in a little bit. We have two USB-A to USB-C cables, two power bricks. We also have a SIM tool, and we'll see what that's all about here in a little bit. Here's the cradle. All right, USB-C in the back. Next is the smart hub, and this actually is the brain of the operation. This features 360-degree high-powered IR emitters to blast commands across the whole room. So on the back, we're going to have 1 and 2. These are going to be for the IR blasters. We also have a USB-C, and we're also going to have the pairing button. Feels like good quality. You can see on the bottom you do have the option to also mount this, so you can mount this on the wall if you want to go ahead and do so. It does have the screw holes. Of course, we know this is the cradle, and the remote itself is going to sit right there. Let's go ahead and just peel that off. So lifting up the remote, you can tell immediately just the quality of this particular unit. It features a unibody zinc alloy metal frame with beautiful rounded edges, has a very solid premium weight in hand, no cheap or creaky plastic here. Front and center is the bright 2.4-inch TFT touchscreen and comfortable, completely backlit tactile remote buttons. Now, if I have to compare what this feels like, it feels like an iPhone. Same material, has some weight to it, and you can just tell it's good quality. On the top, we have our off button. Scroll down, you see we have a back, star, navigation. We do have the back home menu, volume up and down, guide, mute, channel up and down. We have rewind, fast forward. We also have play, pause, DVR, exit. We do have some quick setting menus at the bottom. So I'm guessing with these, you can set favorites, different modes. And you also have A, B, and C. So we're gonna go ahead and get that charged up. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and unbox the IR repeater as well. And I have a manual right here, pretty straightforward. Also in the box, we're gonna have our power brick, and I have a IR blaster as well. And we do have the USB-A to C for power. So pretty straightforward. You can see on the back, we're gonna have plug-in for the IR blaster. We're also gonna have the USB-C for power. Looks like we have the same button right here. It's a pairing button, it seems like, and LED in the front, but overall it's just a round sphere. It looks like something you'll drop off on the moon when you send a satellite up or whatever. So pretty amazing. All that's said and done, let's get them charged up and we'll get into the setup. So getting everything configured starts with the SofaBaton mobile application, which acts like a unified dashboard. To get it set up, all you need to do is make sure that your phone's Bluetooth is on and you're connected to a 2.4 gigahertz network. You can then open the app, set up new hub, select the X2 from the list, and then you can go ahead and create a password. The app is going to pair over the cloud, so it's going to grab firmware updates if there are any available. So once you get signed in and get your firmware updated, you will need to add a remote as well as a repeater. So all you need to do here is go into your settings. You see the options to pair remotes as well as receivers. So we'll go ahead and pair a remote, and for the repeater I'm going to do the same thing. And just like the initial setup, if it finds that the firmware needs to be updated, it will go ahead and do that automatically. So let's get into adding devices that you want to control to this application. Tap the plus icon on the device page. It's going to give you 4 control protocols. So you have infrared, you have Bluetooth, you have Wi-Fi, and there's a newly integrated radio frequency option. For standard IR devices like a TV, you just need to search the brand and model. SofaBaton's cloud database has over 1 million devices, so it will go ahead and download the profiles instantly. For Bluetooth devices, the app loads a specific BLE profile. All you need to do is jump to your streaming device. So this is probably the one that I use the most, because most of my streaming devices are Bluetooth. So if you're on NVIDIA Shield or Fire TV stick or even an Apple TV, you need to go to your Bluetooth settings, find SofaBaton and pair them directly. Once it does that, it will pair on the app and it will also sync it to the remote control. For Wi-Fi devices like Roku, the app auto scans your local network and syncs over IP. So once your devices are compiled, you just hit sync to push the entire data packet straight to the remote headset. And of course, this is going to be over Wi-Fi. So let's quickly go over the settings of the remote. So first things first, this remote does have backlit buttons that really gives it a nice glow when it's in a dark space. This also has a Find My Remote feature. All you need to do is go in the application, hit the Find My Remote, and it will start beeping, and this is what it sounds like. On the main screen, you're going to have your device, sleep timer, settings. You're also going to have activities, sync, as well as your version. Click on device, you're going to see all your devices. This is how you're going to switch in between devices. So you can see I already have the Apple TV 4K, Apple TV HD, NVIDIA Shield TV, Fire TV 4K Max, and the On 4K Pro. Once I select the device, you can see it goes to the number page, but if you scroll down, you have a lot of different options, guys. You have your play, pause, record. You also have different functions that you can program, your mute, so a lot of different options. And if you swipe over, press to the right, then you have this kind of layout, depending on how you want to view it once you're inside a remote. But once you click inside a remote, that's when these buttons now at the bottom become active. You're going to have your sleep timer, all right? So you can set a timer on your current activity. So you can set it for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 1.5 hours, all the way up to 3 hours. Next, we're gonna have our settings. We're gonna have language in our settings. Here we have our default shortcuts. So this is where you can customize what your star key does, or this guy right here. So right now it's set to numbers, but you can set it to your favorites, or you can set it to a macro. You have your activity homepage. So on your homepage, you can have activity menu, or you can have your macro menu, you can have your favorites menu, keypad. So I just left it at activities there. Button labels, command, device. You have your vibration, so you can go ahead and turn that on if you wanted to. So activity changes, that will go ahead and vibrate. Your idle sleep, so this is how long it takes for the screen to time out. So right now it's set to 20 seconds. Let me set it to 30. You have your pair hub. So this is when you first set it up, you pair it to the main hub, and you do have the option to reboot. You have your activities, no activities currently. You also have your sync. So automatically when you make changes where you add a new device, this will automatically sync. But if it doesn't, you do have that option there. When you click on it, it just tells you to hold it close to the hub and it should start syncing. And last but not least, we do have the firmware version. Gives you the firmware version, the hardware, build date, serial number. Does have the battery up here in the top. It doesn't give you the percentage, but it kind of gives you an idea of how much battery you have left. So with everything synced, let's run the gauntlet and test every major ecosystem and see how natively this remote actually behaves. First up is going to be the Apple TV 4K. Now the X2 wakes it up instantly over Bluetooth. The interface navigation is incredibly snappy. The volume tracking adjusts my TV audio seamlessly, and the home button behaves exactly like it would for the factory remote. So for me, this is a clean pass. I'm able to power it on and off, able to do everything that I would normally do on the factory remote. Moving over to the Fire TV stick, power navigation, playback controls. fully responsive. Same story over to my Roku TV. The menus quickly respond, audio mappings are locked in, and the input changing is seamless. Both ecosystems pass without a single stutter. Now for heavier hitters, the NVIDIA Shield TV, this is a crucial test for local media streaming, especially if you're someone that uses Plex. Because the Shield relies heavily on Bluetooth, I wanted to see if there's any input lag in here. And here's where a major hardware update kicks in. With multi-point Bluetooth, the X2 maintains continuous simultaneous connections to multiple Bluetooth devices, and when I switch to the Shield, it doesn't have to disconnect from the Apple TV, search for the Shield, and then pair. It is instant, lag-free, and the navigation inside Plex for me was really flawless. Next up is one of my favorites on 4K Pro. Now on the on, I was able to go to YouTube, Netflix, every button pressed just tracks instantly. The X2 fires off a precise IR and HDMI CEC commands to handle TV power and power settings perfectly. But controlling individual devices is only half the battle. The real magic happens when you combine them. What I'm doing is building an activity or a custom macro from scratch. First, the app asks for devices involved. I selected my TV, my Apple TV 4K. Because the X2 integrates natively with smart home platforms, I can add my Govee LED light strips that's around the TV. This can be connected over Wi-Fi. And as a bonus, I even add my fireplace below my TV, which is controlled by an old school IR remote. So since I'm able to add that IR command, I can add the fireplace button right into the macro chain and arrange for the sequence and assign it to this particular activity. So all right, the room is completely dark, everything's powered off, and let's go ahead and just swipe to the right for movie time, and boom, in one clean automated motion, the TV fires up, switches the input, Apple TV wakes up, my Govee backlights around the TV turns on, and my fireplace also kicks in via IR. Now to me, that completely bridges the gap between a traditional AV gear and modern smart home automation. So everything works great with a direct line of sight, but if you hate looking at wires and want your streaming devices completely hidden, this is where the included R1 signal extender earns its keep. The remote sends a wireless RF signal straight through the wooden doors, and the little R1 sphere inside blasts a powerful 360-degree infrared signal directly to all hidden boxes with zero delay. Now, if you're someone who rely heavily on the Logitech Harmony ecosystem for years, I know exactly what you're asking. Is this the true replacement? And to be real, when Logitech abandoned the market, they left us stranded. The SofaBaton X2 feels like the modern evolution we needed. The app-based configuration is light years ahead of clunky old desktop software. The processing speed is significantly faster, and the touchscreen is incredibly crisp. Now to keep it completely transparent, let's break down the pros and cons. On the pro side, you get flawless multi-platform Bluetooth support, beautiful metal build, fast multi-point switching, hidden cabinet control out of the box, and great smart home integration. As far as the cons, complex custom activities does take some patience and tuning, and the package itself is also a premium price tag, but the biggest trade-off is that there's no built-in microphone. If you heavily rely on holding a button to talk directly to Siri or Alexa or your Google Assistant for voice search inside the apps, you lose that native capability on this hardware. You'll need to either use your smartphone app or your speakerphones instead. So can this remote successfully replace my entire streaming setup? And after pushing it to the absolute limit across my ecosystem, I would say absolutely yes. The biggest surprise wasn't that it worked, it was just how much simpler it made switching between devices, and everything was consolidated into one premium single swipe. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section. The SofaBaton X2, if you're interested in picking one up, I'll definitely leave a link in the description along with a 15% coupon code. Now let me know in the comment section how many streaming devices you use in the house, and is switching between remote controls a hassle? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Of course, if you're new to the channel, subscribe, smash the notification bell. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.